This conference will now be recorded.
All right, ready to speak? Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
We're about to begin our meeting. Do we have any volunteers for the prayer? If not, I take it. Let's bow our heads. Dear Heavenly Father, thank you for bringing us together again today to do kind of business. We ask you to help us to make the best decision, to do the right thing for all the citizens of the county. We thank you for these blessings and all that you can give. Amen.
Amen.
I
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
You may be seated. We have before you a proposed agenda. What's the pleasure of the board?
I move that we accept the agenda, Mr. Chairman.
I second it. Second.
Okay. It has been motioned and second. Did anybody else have anything? Tony Soda did so quick.
Yeah, you don't have anything.
Tony, you gotta go.
I may have anything.
Okay.
I
may later.
We got a eat date somewhere.
Yeah, I do for real though.
All in favor by the show of hands. Motion carried. Okay. The minute will email to everybody around the table. What's the pleasure of the board?
I so move. I second.
All right, we got both of
motion.
them at the same time. Steve, you got both of them. It has been motioned and second. Do we have any discussion on it before we vote on it? If not, all in favor by the show of hands, and that is unanimous. So Steve is on you now.
All right, sir. Miss Felton, are you ready?
Oh, yes.
If you
Boy.
come on up.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Shanksnica Felton, from Byronville. I'm on the recreation board. Excuse me. On the last meeting for the rec board, Joe, the director of the rec board, rec department, he sent out a group text stating that we had a meeting or whatever. In that group text, I asked to be put on the phone for the meeting or whatever, because the meetings are not held regular and I work, so I can't get off just because we got a meeting coming up or whatever and stuff. So I asked him to be put on the phone or whatever. Another member also asked to be put on the phone too. So he called me the day of. He told me what we was going to be talking about, and he sent me the paperwork of what what he was going to present to the members that was going to be there. He assured me that he was going to call me. So about 8 o'clock, after I didn't get a call, I called him. And I said, Joe, is it too late for me to call you? He said, no. I said, well, what happened to my phone call? He said, well, Mixon said that when we had a quorum, we didn't have to call you. Excuse me. I said, what? I said, well, I'm still part of this board or whatever, and I have the right to attend or whatever. He said, well, I don't think he meant nothing by it. I said, well, I'm going to look into it further. So I saw Mr. Mixon over at the courthouse, and I was telling him who I was, and I told him of the situation. He said he didn't mean anything bad or whatever. He said, but even if I was put on the call, that I couldn't vote. But I told him, yes, I could vote or whatever. The commissioners have had meetings where Coach Ward has voted over the phone several times or whatever. And he said, no, you couldn't vote or whatever. Now, if we needed a quorum, we could have called you. But I think that's kind of contradictory of what he said, that I couldn't vote. Because if you needed a quorum, that means I had to be in there to be able to vote, right? That's what you need a quorum for, right? So I'm trying to see why I wasn't called for the meeting or whatever if I'm part of the meeting. It wasn't the first time I would have been called. I've been called before.
Mhm. So
I was hoping that I had let the attorney, I'd ask him to do some research, because I believe back when Commissioner Ward, he would call into the meetings, but he did not officially vote. He just called in to listen to the meetings.
No, he voted. I was here at the meetings, as I can tell you. Now, I think Mr. Casey has been on the phone before, or whatever, but I wasn't here at that meeting, so I can't say he voted, but Mr. Ward voted. And even though what you're saying about the voting, I'm still part of that board, and I think I should have been able to be on the phone if I didn't vote.
The legalities of whether you can vote or not, I'll defer to the attorney to answer that question. The question about whether you should be allowed to participate by phone, that is a rec board policy that the rec board can set.
Okay, the policy procedures, when it came up about the reg board and y'all gave us the policy procedure, that doesn't say anything about it, any phone calls or anything. And, excuse me, to my knowledge, the chair and the person presiding over the meeting would make that decision during the meeting, whether to call or not or whatever. We don't have any officers elected in the reg board. We don't have a chair, vice chair, secretary, nothing.
Well, that's something the rec board needs to take care of themselves, because they would be the ones to elect the chairman and the officers. I was not aware that the rec board did not have officers, but that's something I'll get with Joseph. The rec board needs to have an election amongst its members to elect the officers that the rec board wants. So yeah, that's something I'll make a note to take care of.
And we need to have regular meetings or whatever. I can base
That's
my
up to
time
that's
on
up
it.
there again. That's up to the rec board. The rec board can set how often they want the rec board to meet.
Okay. So when you talk with the attorney, will I find out whether I've been violated by not being able to be over the phone or whatever?
I will find out.
Because I don't think an attempt was made to contact me. All right. Thank you.
Thank you. I halfway liked that shirt you had on till.
Well,
Yeah.
I think Coach Barron had much to say to me because my son attends Allen up in South Carolina. And when we came over during that homecoming, I think we thought we was their parents or whatever because we walked the dog over. We did that. But I'm sorry, Coach.
Okay, moving along here. You've got the financial report for the month of October. Take it, look at it. Got any questions? We'll be glad to try to answer them. And just along that lines, I think I've already told you, but our CPA, Gene Allen, is already here working on the audit for the fiscal year that ends September 30th. So that's always an interesting time of year, but anyway, that's going on.
So when are you gonna present that to?
The audit,
Uh-huh.
I've asked him to have it. We're required, state law requires us to submit it to the state six months after the fiscal year ends. That would be March the 30th.
Mhm.
I've asked him to have it completed and to me by the end of January. That gives a little bit, because ultimately you never get it on time.
Yeah.
So, but we've always been able to meet the state's deadline of March 31st. All right, SPLOST, for the proposed SPLOST. Now we're in the process. The cities are officially, all the cities had tentatively approved the intergovernmental agreement that we proposed that projected the revenues for the next 6 years. And they submitted their projects for their portion of the money for that 6-year period. They've all tentatively approved it, so now they're all in the process of getting all their official signatures on the document. So now we can proceed. The next step is for the Board of Commissioners to actually adopt the resolution calling for this subject to be put on the ballot before the voters. And the group had tentatively agreed that it would be put on the ballot. What's that date in March? March the 12th, 2024. That's the date of the presidential preference primary. So, and that's the state. And this is considered a special election. SPLOST is considered a special election, and you can only put these questions on the ballot during certain periods of the year. And it depends on whether it's an even year or an odd year, is what time. And if I remember correctly, since next year is an even year and a presidential election, our options to put a SPLOST on the ballot was either in March or in November. And if we waited till November of next year, our current SPLOST would have expired in December, and the new one there wouldn't have been enough time for the new one to take effect in January. There's got to be so much time between the actual election and when the new tax goes into effect. So that's why we chose March next year to get the voters to approve it, and that would be plenty of time for it to be in effect January 1, 2025. So I'd like to request a motion and a second to adopt the resolution calling for our SPLOST election.
All right.
I'll offer the motion with the resolution calling for our SPLOST
I second.
election.
As been motion and second. Before we vote on it, do we have any discussion on it? If not, all in favor, by the show of hands. Okay, that motion carries.
Let me get the chairman's signature. Sometimes I get bad and I forget to get your signature at the end of the meeting, so if you don't mind. And we got plenty of time. Once we submit this to the elections office has to advertise this, I think, 4 weeks in the legal order of the county prior to the election, but there's plenty of time for all that to happen. So I didn't want to, to me, this is a very important matter, and we need this to get passed. And the cities need it as well, so.
Very much so.
Okay, all right. I'd like to add an item to the agenda, if you don't mind. We recently had an employee get, in my opinion, a prestigious award. And I'd like for him to come and share some of that information with y'all, if y'all don't mind. Is that okay, Mr. Chairman?
If it's all right, the board is all right with me? Right.
Mr. Calhoun, would you come up, please, sir? And share a little bit of information about that you may be toting around in your hand?
Well, it started off like a regular week, and last Monday I attended the Emergency Management Association business conference and training seminar and in North Georgia, and at the end of that they have a banquet and they present their awards, and it was a total shock and surprise to me, but not every year, but in some years they select an individual that they present an award to that is, they call it their Legends Award, and it's basically equivalent to a Lifetime Achievement Award. And this year the award was presented to me, and I was just totally shocked and surprised, didn't know anything about it. And I found out later that Steve and Eugene had been feeding them some information about me and my career here, and
All of it true. We didn't go past that truth.
well,
all the truth.
We did not tell all the truth either.
but like I said, this award is it is the highest award that can be bestowed upon a person in emergency management, and I'm just proud to be a recipient. I'm surprised. I don't think that I did anything special. I just tried to do my job. I was president of the association from 2005 to 2010, and this board allowed me to do that. I'd also served as second vice president. I was the first president that had ever skipped from second vice president to president. Most of the time, everybody kind of graduated up through the ranks, but our association was in some difficult times, and some people approached me about running for that leadership position, and ironically, the gentleman that presented me this award, our current president, ran against me that particular year and got beat by a substantial margin. And he served under me and served well in several different positions. And so it kind of seems ironic that he presented me with an award of this type. But anyways, it's really an honor for me, and I feel like I didn't not only accept it on my behalf, but also on the county's behalf, because this board has allowed me to participate in the association and to do what I needed to do. And like I said, I don't feel like I did anything, but a lot of the folks that are in our association today are folks that have been there not as long as I have, but as long as they have been there, I have always been there. And of course, that'll change one day, but I'm just honored that they felt that I was worthy of this, and I just wanted to share that with y'all.
Is it true that when they announced it, that you was almost speechless?
Yes, that is true. It was
Almost.
I would like to add one thing though, according to that award, and as it was told to me by Mr. Warden, when he was calling and wanting us to put together some information on Kenny so they could do the bio for him and that type thing. They don't give this award freely. It's so many associations that will tap a person every year for their award. This award don't work that way. Matter of fact, I think I've been told there's only been, what, a dozen, 12, 14 people even recognized and put on a plaque up there as recognized by the EMA state folks. And so that in itself tells us that, you know, this is just not a run-of-the-mill every year award, you know. So there's something to be very proud of, Kenny, and I'm glad they've seen your efforts. And they haven't seen them as much as we have, you know. You know, we rely so much on a volunteer base here, and you've heard me say that over and over and over. And Kenny embodies the true meaning of volunteer. I mean, he's just, whether it was fire service, EMS, or whatever, helping somebody, he was willing and always has been willing. I appreciate that. I think that's a trait that we see going away in our world today, and that's not good. But people are so protective of their time. We're so involved. We have so many things going on, and we kind of lose sight of that. But I sat back and I thought about some of the old days, and you know, we've done turkey shoots to raise money. We did broom and mop sales to raise money for the eyeglass program for Lions Club. You're familiar with it, Tony, and you know I don't know how many chicken plates. I mean, it's just been on and on and on and on, you know, and that's just the way of life in small communities. But I know I'm rambling, but I appreciate what you do.
Well,
I appreciate you being there. You've always been a part. If there was something going on for somebody, you was just about in the middle of it. And I appreciate that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Very appreciate
Thank you.
it.
Congratulations.
All right, we'll get back on the agenda here. Come on, you can do it. As far as the community development block grant for our housing rehab, we're still waiting on the River Valley Regional Commission to tell us what the next step we need to do in that process. They're not waiting on us, we're waiting on them at this point in time. So I'll keep y'all informed as we go through the process.
Was Ms. T, on that note, the city, can they, contact the same guy?
Yes. The River Valley is, would do the same thing for any of the cities, providing the same assistance.
Yeah, cause I know we probably, and this is all the cities in Dula County, they probably could need, some assistance from this guy.
And quite frankly, looking at the past awards that gets awarded every year, more cities get
Mhm.
score higher on these awards than counties do, especially in housing grants.
Exactly.
So I mean, they encourage the cities to do a separate application. Don't go with the county.
Mhm.
Go separately, because the city could get their $750,000. The county get $750,000. If you go together, you only gonna get $750,000.
Has divided up. But you're right, because that's been so long ago. But the one year I went down to Jekyll Island, man, it was, boy, it was this whole wall from back there to there, up here, and probably all the way around the wall. That's with the more big plastic checks, from the cities and stuff. And who will we share that information with? Do we need to share it with the mayors or city councilors or what, so that they know
River
that-
Valley sent the same notice they sent to the county to all the cities.
Okay.
So the cities should be aware of what River Valley can do for them.
Yeah, because they know they need some help. Yeah.
On that note, let me add that, it would do us well probably to encourage our little cities to have a representative there, because River Valley is there for them just like it is for us. And I know the fear of the unknown sometimes creeps into our minds about, what this is all about. But, there's only one way to find money for your community, and you have to go to them. They don't come to us and say, what do y'all need down there in Lilly County?
Right.
What do y'all need in Pinehurst? What do you need in Lilly? And even I can go so far as to say, my last meeting with Georgia Environmental Finance Authority, the rules and things change as things get harder for our communities. When I started on that board, a grant had to come from somewhere else, and a lot of times it might be matching money to help with the GFA loan to get the people where they could, kind of carry their own weight. But they're now giving loans to the loans, instead of it being 100% loan. We know what that is. That's a grant. You can call it anything you want to, but that's starting to happen because these little cities do not have the revenue.
That's right.
And they look up and all their infrastructure, their pipes, their sewage, and the whole program is about people having safe drinking water. And we experienced it firsthand in Bartonville up there.
And they need some more help. Yeah. And Doolin too. And the housing too, but okay.
Okay, item number 5, LMIG. Waiting to get, I've sent all the proposed projects that we've identified as potential projects for 24 to the engineers. They're rating them, reviewing them, and going to prepare cost estimates for them, so then we can determine which ones we want to submit to the state for next year. So waiting to hear from them on that. Item number 7, Rodney and I are still working on a recommendation on the motor grader, so
See.
I'm sorry, excuse me, number 6. I'm sorry. Number 7, just a reminder, a representative from the University of Georgia Institute of Government will conduct a 2-day planning and zoning training session in Dooley County on January the 16th and 17th. All the planning commission members are planning to attend. The county commissioners are welcome to attend. It's been even opened up to, I think, supposedly a representative from all the cities in Dooley County will be there, and even maybe some of the folks from Chris County and their planning commission may even be planning on attending. So just keep that in mind. Item number 8. Dooley County is allowed to have 2 representatives on the Middle Flint Health and Wellness Board. Ms. Betty Lamb currently serves as a representative. Our other position is vacant. So keep this on the agenda till we get someone has a recommendation. Item number 9, just for informational purposes, at their meeting this past Monday, the Planning Commission did consider an application for a conditional use for a new cell tower at 1049 North County Line Road, and they voted unanimously to approve that application for conditional use. Number 10, just to keep you updated about the upcoming holidays. Thanksgiving Day, next Thursday, is a county holiday, and then the next holiday is a big Christmas Eve and Christmas Day. Number 11, the county has an opportunity to participate in the scrap tire abatement program administered by the Georgia Department of Natural Resources Environmental Protection Division. EPD will provide up to $73,267 to assist with the program. And basically this will allow citizens of Dooley County that have old tires, they can bring them to the Public Works Department and drop them off, and they will get disposed of at no charge to the citizens. It's going to be first come, first served basis. Once Rodney and them think they've got they're going to have to, they got enough tires to use up that money, they'll have to quit accepting them.
When did it start?
This is non-commercial, right?
I'll have to get back to you on that. We've done it we've done this once or twice in the past, and that's sort of supposedly non-commercial, because as I understand it, somebody that sells tires, when they sell that tire, they collect a fee for that to cover the disposal of that tire. So this is just for individuals. So anyway, we'll submit the paperwork. We haven't been officially approved yet, but we need a motion if y'all want to submit the application. I'm about to forget that. If y'all want to
I
submit
make a motion, we attempt to participate in this program.
I second.
Okay, there's been a motion and a second. Do we have any discussion on it? It worked good in the past.
It has.
Yeah, so I'm gonna be first in line this time. All in favor by the show of hands? Okay, that motion carried. Okay.
Chairman, let me get your signature on this. Right there.
No, I'm sorry, no, not there. Right there, I'm sorry,
Okay.
right there. Thank you.
Property insurance. Just to give you an update, back in October, our property insurance, automobile insurance, our liability insurance, and our cyber insurance was all in one package, and it always renews in October. It renewed in October, and we moved from Aiken Insurance Agency in Vinyl. We went with the proposal from the ACCG through their insurance division. And one of the things that ACCG insurance does is for new customers, they send a property appraiser out to look at all of your buildings over $100,000 mainly to see if you've got enough insurance coverage on it. They came last week, I believe, and we're going to get a report from that. They're going to probably have some suggestions of some coverages we might need to tweak, but that's coming in. I thought I would have had that report by this meeting, but I don't have it just yet, but we'll get that. And I'll get with my insurance advisor and go through it, and then we'll make a recommendation to the board on that. Item number 13, we got several boards that the county commissioners appoint members to, and several of them have terms that are expiring this month or end of December. The Board of Assessors, the District 2 Representative Eddie Green term expires December 31st, and the District 3 Representative Kay Wilbanks, her term expires December 31st. Let's go through them all first, and then I'm not really asking y'all to make a recommendation today. I'm just letting y'all know what terms are up. So let's go through them right quick. The Board of Elections, District 2, Lee Harris, term's up. District 5, Betty Bryant's term is up. On the Planning Commission, John Averill Jr., Sammy Lewis, and Larry Spivey's terms are up. On the Rec Board, Johnny M. Averill Jr., Shantanika Felton, Crystal Jordan, and Steve Morgan's terms are up. So we'll reach out to these individuals and see if they're willing to serve another term, and then we'll report back to y'all at the next meeting. Just wanted y'all to be aware what terms are coming up out there. Item number 17. Oh, yes, okay. The Georgia Department of Transportation has remitted their fund $284,900 to assist with the box culvert project on Jalapa Road. And I would like to request the authority to open a new checking account at South Georgia Banking Company for this project. It just would make it a whole lot easier, cleaner. Yes, it's another checking account we got to keep up with, but it would just make we're subject to being audited by DOT for any of these LMIG funds, and it's just going to be a lot cleaner if we have a separate checking account for every time they give us money. So I'd like to request the authority to open an account.
Make a motion. Open the account.
We already got the step.
Second.
Okay.
And to be on the same terms as all the other accounts, all checks will require 2 signatures, the chairman, the vice chairman, the administrator, or the clerk. Any 2 of those people can sign checks on any of the county checking accounts.
Okay. So, okay, we got a motion and a second on it.
Yes.
Any other discussion on it? All in favor by the show of hands? Okay, motion carried. I was sitting there thinking, please hurry, get started.
Do you know a start date on that project, Rodney? Because I've asked for one, but I haven't received one yet.
I haven't got one either. I just know they was moving that one.
Okay.
But-
Finish what they have.
Okay, I want to ask Mr. Hare a question. Why is it, and I said I would get back with an answer. Okay, when we put the barriers out there saying that nobody can go through the road, so we could not put like an emergency passage to go through there, so that the people wouldn't have to go around. And they wanted me to find out why we didn't go that route. I told them I didn't know. I had to check with the road department.
I don't recommend it. If you would get on the end of that pipe, look up through there, I wouldn't drive across it. The whole pipe rotted in the bottom. It actually dropped on that side that everybody thinks is good. Like I said, it's not structurally stable under there. I mean, I guess if there was a super emergency we had to have, we could chance it, but I mean, it's just too close to your variance and how far you get over when there's nothing under it but pavement, and then it's just bad. I don't recommend it.
Okay.
It's a liability.
And it would be a lot of expense to dig up the pipes that are there and try to put some temporary pipe in until a permanent solution could be done.
No, it would. It's very expensive.
Because it has the potential of having a large amount of water to come through there at times.
When the time's right and the water flows, there's a lot of water coming through there. And And it wouldn't, I mean, and people don't understand unless they have looked at the whole project under there. I had sent some pictures, I can get some more, but, it's just like driving over with a hope you're gonna make it. And then something heavy comes along and it's sure not going.
Mhm.
It would be a liability to the county, and as far as digging it out and putting pipe in, I mean, they're coming, they're supposed to have already been there, but they should start this project pretty quick. We won't have to worry with it.
Yeah.
Right now, it would be a liability because.
That culvert will be built,
It shift one side and it's it.
it'll be built on site, Rodney. The
Sir,
culvert will be built on site.
it'd be a double box cover built on
Yeah.
site, like they did on T.
Right.
Okay, because I said I couldn't, I'm not trying to micromanage your job, and I don't think they can micromanage your job either, because that's right down your alley. I just needed to hear it from you,
Right.
and I try to explain it back to them, but if not, then I'm gonna tell them they need to see you, and you can tell them exactly why, because they just sort of just want to have it that way.
I mean, I hate to see somebody get hurt.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
The one T Road, for instance,
Mhm.
it wasn't washed out to my knowledge, but when the guy come across it, everything happened all at the same time, his car went in the creek.
Yeah.
Just look fortunate that he made it out.
Yeah, we didn't know it was drowning.
And that could happen there, and if you put emergency and say, okay, we're gonna leave this here, just put a barricade in front of it for emergency only, it'll get abused. I mean, they move everything I put down there. And that's the last thing I wanna hear, a car caved in this situation here.
That's what I needed to know.
Okay.
Mhm.
Oh, okay, one item that, not on here, but the City of Unadill's Christmas parade is scheduled for 12 noon on Saturday, December the 9th. Do the commissioners want to have an entry in the parade?
I know one do, two do.
You know, I mean,
I'll be there.
we'll do our own, so, me and my wife, so,
Mhm.
but
Do the commissioners want to have an entry in the parade? Is all I'm asking.
I'm gonna be there too.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Tim, you going?
I don't know, I gotta look at the date.
December the
The ninth.
I'll
Night.
have to look at that and see on
Okay.
that Thursday.
Maybe Commissioner Mixon, you can get your uncle to tow the old garbage truck that's out of the county yard.
moving right along. Okay. The only thing I got left on the agenda is an executive session for a personnel matter.
so move, Mr. Chairman, that we go into executive session.
It has been motion and second. Boy, we're gonna make it out of here this morning.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, all in favor by the show of hands. That motion carried.
This conference will now be recorded.
I'd like to request a motion to offer employment to Troy Bruce as a heavy equipment operator / truck driver, and to John Akins as a motor grader operator at Public Works Department.
I'll offer the motion, employment of these two individuals.
I say,
It has been motion and second. Any discussion on it? All in favor by the show of hands. That motion carried. Okay, Tony.
Okay, can you answer that question about voting, research it, about voting when you are on the phone?
Okay, in what context, for the commissioners or for
we had
committees? Or
we had a rec board meeting.
Right.
And
I'm familiar.
I didn't know the conversation between her and Joseph
Okay.
initially. Sometime, we hadn't done it since I've got, but I know in the past, they have called people and begged them to stay on the phone in order to have a quorum to be able to have the meeting. And she was requesting to be called at this last meeting to be on the call. Well, it ended up, enough people showed up, we had a quorum at the meeting. So Joseph said, well, do y'all want me to call, or here, I'm gonna call whoever and all, and I made the comment, I said, well, we got a quorum, don't worry about it. And so we went on with the meeting. Well, it was upsetting to someone. I was approached about that. I said it wasn't anything personal. I thought in my mind he was begging them to get on the phone to have a quorum. We didn't need it, so we did it. And I said, but all you can do is listen in on the meeting anyway. I said you can't vote. Well, then she went into Harry Ward and all that. And I said, well, I don't know about Harry Ward. I said, but there's been 2 meetings I've missed in person for vacation, but I've listened to the meeting.
Talking about rec board or this board?
This board.
And when she was referencing Harry Ward, was she talking about the rec board or this board?
She kept saying this board
Okay.
that he voted.
All right. My understanding was Mr. Ward did not vote ever, but listened when he did it. And it's very confusing because there was a period of time under the governor's orders when we were allowed, specifically during the time that he was convalescing, for us to have COVID in order to function. We had COVID where the rules were relaxed, and I underline the rules were relaxed to allow that by specific orders that came out monthly, if not more frequently, from the governor saying you could have video meetings and so forth and so on, as I remember it. Okay. During that time, in order to conduct business in a safe environment when people were dying, and congregation of public entities was discouraged but required, we did have people attend meetings. Specifically, the honorable Harry Ward, who had been a servant of this community in many years as a school teacher and later on this board, he was very ill. And to expose him would have killed him. And to throw his name in here as an example, I want to just make sure we understand the gravity of what was going on there. Now, that being said, if he voted, it was because it was allowed under the governor's orders. But there were other times prior to that he did not vote, to my recollection, because it was not allowed. I don't recall him ever voting on those calls. I remember he would make a sound so you'd know he was there. So that being said, you can attend this meeting by phone, and that was done then. Now, since then, this meeting has become live streamed, so it's not an issue for anybody, whether you're on this board or not, to attend. But if you're not here and present to vote, you can't vote. End of that discussion. As it relates to the rec board, and that's where this focus should be, this person was appointed to serve on the rec board. They've come and addressed this board about their participation at that board. It is not proper for this board to set the rules and regulations of the rec board unless you want to disband it, reinvigorate it, and then micromanage it. You don't do it for any other board, and you don't need to start with this one.
Well, Steve told her that, yeah, the rec board got to make all the rules and decisions.
And I apologize. It was my word that got the call kicked, but again,
To solve this,
wasn't
the next meeting of the rec board, you should put on the agenda at some point, maybe not the first thing because it might distract the meeting, get the business of the meeting conducted, and then come back to this issue and let the pleasure of that board determine how to handle it going forward. And I think that it should be fair across the board.
Well, what about the officers?
Yeah, we've not, that is something.
That's a new twist.
She
Nobody.
brought up that the rec board hasn't elected since I think Joe Owens served as chairman as long as he was on there. Since he's went off the book.
Okay, let me stop that discussion. Was a motion made by her as a member of that board to address this issue? If the answer is unknown or no, then let's not continue the discussion. Because what's going on is where she's coming to us to tell them what to do.
Right.
So we can what if all day, but she was not on that board. She was appointed to that board. and with the understanding that she could address her issues as a member of that board because she was having trouble addressing it. Now, she's up for reappointment.
This year.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, but
Glad she ain't in my district.
it's in mine.
She
But-
first
but
gotta
still,
go
I-
to some meeting.
But my question is, okay, so who had the authority on that board to do what, other than director? I'm just curious, because all the other, now let me back up. I don't know what all the other boards got.
Is there a person presiding over the meeting?
Yeah, that's right. That's
And who is it?
right. I mean, I don't.
I'm asking, who is it?
Right. I mean, you know. Because
You got
see, I
to
want to know. Okay, you on that board?
Joe.
You on the rec board? Well, then you had a reason to say what you did. Then you were on.
Yeah, but that's the only reason, it's here is because of me
Uh-huh.
and what I said. I mean, that's the only.
Well, let me ask you this. Does she have a valid point that there's not elected or appointed officers?
She has a valid point.
Okay, then that needs to be addressed.
You're right.
Yeah.
You're right.
Yeah,
She's right.
I mean, that's what I told,
Yeah.
that's what I
Yeah.
told.
Fair
her.
enough.
Yeah.
But it needs to be addressed in
By
that
the
board.
rec board.
By the rec.
Right.
Yes, you're right.
If and when the rec board stops functioning, then this board gets involved.
Well, we don't had a hard time trying to get that thing back up and running with that rec board. Now we did.
And it's good.
Yeah.
Everybody, I mean,
Yeah, it's running good.
when I said that, everybody was like, yeah, we got a call. I mean, everybody agreed. It wasn't, nobody voted.
But the thing about it, we don't have technology to put everybody on that
Yeah.
don't show up on a
That night,
conference call.
we were sitting outside
See?
under the setting sun and the moon because the power had gone out in
We
the.
ain't got technology to
The
do all
thing,
this.
so we didn't have any
If 5 people miss, how you gonna put 5 people on the phone? I mean, like, come on.
But
now.
my thing about the COVID, what got me, after you said COVID, I was through. You know, that cause all the rules were different on the COVID. So,
Under
I mean,
an
but that's-
executive order from the governor.
Yeah. See, I didn't know that.
Well, out of all the context and all the conversation and everything that this young lady said, the one word that stuck out in my mind, y'all probably know what I'm gonna say. You know what that word was? Violated.
Yeah, was she?
Okay.
Violated. She felt
Okay,
violated.
let's get to substance over form, because in our form of democracy, the person who's, the minority is represented over the majority, and I understand that, and she has a right to come here, and thank God she does. However, having said that, and having had her have her chance to have her grievance addressed, and putting it back to where it needs to, would you bring to this board at the appropriate time, just whatever that board decides, just so we have an update
Yeah,
that something's
exactly.
been done, yes or no?
Mhm.
No big deal. And then that way it's not just left. And then until that happens, which could be next month, could be next year, next time you meet, I don't know. But until that happens, at least we have some follow-up back here.
Do y'all got to work Friday after Thanksgiving, Steve?
The boards used to, the day after Thanksgiving was a holiday also, but then the board they took away the day after Thanksgiving and transferred that holiday to Martin Luther King Jr. Day.
Okay,
But then with the understanding that
y'all can take off.
the board was okay with offices being closed and people taking a vacation day.
Vacation day. That's what I wanted. I saw that.
Yeah.
So the county's gonna be closed Friday.
All offices will be, yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, the public safety won't naturally, because they 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, but yeah. That's all I have, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, but I'm glad we pay you for your advice.
I wish he had been here.
Me too.
God, he looked like something wrong with him this morning. I don't know did you get enough sleep last night? I know are you under the weather or what?
I'm under the damn weather with this, excuse my French, but this sinus stuff is just.
I knew something wasn't. I can look in your
No,
face.
It may be just a swine flu.
Oh, swine. Okay. But okay, but Steve.
Is that it?
Yeah, it's
good.
okay.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion we adjourn.
I second.
Okay, I have a motion in a second. All in favor of it, please stand up and left.
We still did good.
Yeah, Tony, be on it with a few minutes though.
Have you been getting the letters from Department of Community